Hello beautiful people, welcome back to Life and Living with Lade. Thank you for stopping by today to see this video. If this is your first time visiting, welcome. If this is not your first time, thank you for watching the previous video, that's the welcome video, and subscribing to the channel. So today's video is about growing up in Nigeria, Zaria versus Lagos. Africa is a continent and Nigeria is a country. Nigeria is located in the west part of Africa, so it's in West Africa. Zaria is a city in Kaduna State, and Kaduna State is in the north of Nigeria. For the earlier years of my life, I grew up in Zaria. Once I got to about second or third grade, which back home we would say primary 2 or primary 3. My parents got transferred to Lagos and we had to move to Lagos. Hence the reason for my comparison, Zaria versus Lagos. In no particular order, today's video would be talking about 5 things that I thought are significantly different in terms of growing up in Zaria versus growing up in Lagos. So the first one on the list, remember I said is in no particular order. The first one is break time in school. We had enough time to eat our lunch and then go outside in the playground to play. So during break time in Zaria, girls would play with girls and boys would play with boys. There was no set rule as to who plays with who. I believe that's something synonymous to northern Nigeria. In the north, women, there was like a lot of gender roles, and women were usually put in the light of, not socializing in public with the opposite sex. In Lagos, everyone played together. There were no set rules, like there were no set rules in Zaria about who to play with who. I noticed that unlike Zaria, girls could argue with boys and even do like arm wrestling, that's physical contact. So it was just something different. So the second thing is what we call teachers. In Zaria, when I was in preschool, kindergarten, we called our teachers uncle and auntie. But by the time I got into primary school, which is first grade or primary 1, for some reason we started calling her Mrs. And I believe that's around the time when we started learning about family. In Lagos, what they called teachers were just straight up Mr. this or Miss this. But when I got into high school in Lagos, I realized that there were people who would come to school and say uncle in high school. To me, that was like the weirdest thing ever. But then it made me see that it wasn't a function of Zaria versus Lagos per se. It was the school and whatever they call teachers in the school. Number 3 is one of my favorite to talk about. It is playtime at home. In Zaria, when we played, it was more outdoors. We would usually go on adventures. I remember going out to play with my sister. You usually would not know how your day would turn out. We would dig up fruits, vegetables. We would dig up potatoes, sweet potatoes. We would dig up carrots, wash them up and eat them up. We made mud food, so we would take like 3 stones and set them and then put maybe, I don't know, a cup or bowl and put water and mud and mix it together and we'll make fufu, and we'll also make the soup. So the soup will just cut leaves from a tree and use that as vegetable and would serve. It was mostly outdoor, and we just create our play ourselves. In Lagos, playtime was more structured and mostly indoors. Lagos, I found, was very confined. Like, we're always confined to a space. Even if we could play outside the house, it wasn't for too long and we just had to come back inside. We watched a lot of TV back in Lagos. It was very structured. We had lesson, we had school, then we had lesson in school, then we came back home, then we had lesson at home. On weekends we'll go to like recreational clubs. And what we would go there for, we would go there Saturdays. We spent the whole day, it was taekwondo music and then swimming, and then the rest of the day we just played on the playground until they came together. But I really, really liked it. Like, I loved it. It helped us to, learn co-curricular skills. Like, that's how I learned how to swim, taekwondo, music. It helped us. Compared to Zaria, it was too structured. It was very structured for me. On Saturdays, I felt like I was going to school again, because you had to wake up early, and you had to make sure your music book was in order, and you had to make sure you have learned your notes and your scales. That's one of the ones that I really like. Number 3, Playtime. Zaria, unstructured, versus Lagos, very structured. 4 and number 5 are, I kind of put them in the same category, and the category is interesting terms. It's just some terms that we used in Zaria, and you came to Lagos and you said it, and nobody knew what you were talking about. In Zaria, we would say leda, and that was a plastic bag. But once I got to Lagos, I didn't. My encounter or experience with learning what this term was rather embarrassing. I'd gone to buy what did I buy? I went to buy biscuits and sweets for my uncle that had come in to town, and he was just taking us out on a treat. I volunteered to go with him, and I went. And so when we were done buying what we were buying, there was a lot of stuff, and we needed a bag. So I said, "Please give us leather." The girl who was working at the shop that we went to, she didn't get what I was saying, so she called her boss, her madam. Her madam came and said, "What do you want?" And I said, "Please, we want leather." And for like 2 seconds, she was quiet. She was trying to figure out what I was talking about, and then I had to like demonstrate what I was talking about. I said, "I want leather bag to put this in." She now said, nylon no first saw. That, right, it was very embarrassing. She just went off laughing. I mean, it was funny, but to me it wasn't. It was very embarrassing. And then she said, "Nylon no first saw, nylon no first saw." And in my mind, I'm like, have I heard that before? It sounded like I'd heard it before, but I'm like, okay, nylon. Which one is that one again? But that's what they called it in Lagos. So Zaria, Leda, Lagos, nylon. The last but not the least, it's under the same category of interesting terms. This is one of our major means of transportation in Nigeria. It's fast, I wouldn't say cheaper. I don't know if it's necessarily cheaper, but I know it's fast and it can cut through traffic. In Zaria, they called it express or machine. In Lagos, they call it Okada. I don't know of any other word that they call it in Lagos, but I know they call it Okada in Lagos. So guys, there you have it, the 5 things that are significantly different growing up in Zaria versus growing up in Lagos. The gist of this video is, first of all, that Africa is not a country. Africa is a continent, and Nigeria is a country in Africa. So I would like for you guys to keep in mind, this experience that I had made me realize that people have different stories, and your background and where you're from has a lot to play on your character, your attitude, your personality, and how you live life. It has made me less judgmental about people, and when I meet people, I'm more open to find out about them, because trust me, not everybody grew up where you grew up. Not everybody has your story. So be open, to learn about other people, and don't judge them based on your own background. If you have people you work with, people that you're around every time, if you're in a class, your group members, or if you're a professor, your students, I think it applies to everybody. Shout out to all my Nigerian people. Thank you to all the subscribers who subscribed. We'll have 23 subscribers. Yay! And some people commented on the last video. Thank you very much. Thank you, Christy Abraham, Julie, Faith Bonire, shout out, Scally Girls, and Lola King. And those of you who liked, and those of you who subscribed, I'm really grateful. Beautiful people. Mwah. I love you, beautiful people. Thank you for watching, and God bless you. Bye.